What is up, everybody in the chat, man? We are back for another live stream. It is going absolutely insane right now because fantasy football is getting pretty serious, chat. What is up to everybody in the stream, man? Shout out to the people that have been waiting. I will go ahead and get your question out the way first before I get into too deep of anything for Thursday Night Football. Do you like Dowdle, Warren, or Mason? I would probably lean Jordan Mason in that one. Dowdle has been on an absolute tear, but I mean, with Chuba Hubbard on the horizon, there's definitely some questions that do need to be answered, chat. What is up, everybody? Hop in the chat, man. We got a beautiful game tonight with the Steelers and the Bengals. I don't know if you'd call it beautiful necessarily, but it is pretty much as close as we can get to that. Jordan Whittington or Luther Burden? I will go Jordan Whittington. Yeah, this is a good one. A good question from you guys in the chat. Luther Burden, this is a guy we need to be stashing still. If you have him on the roster, however deep your league is, if it's probably 10, 12 or less, you don't need to be rostering him. But Luther Burden, after the bye weeks we see every single year, rookies get more and more and more involved. So that's a guy you want to stash. But for as far as a week one, or I guess 1 week fill-in, Jordan Whittington is going to be that guy. Now, I will say, he does have one of the toughest cornerback to wide receiver matchups of the week. He draws a very bad hand, I guess, bad card. But as far as filling for those, that's the guy I would be going with there. And then everybody watching in the chat, live or past tense, we are going to get going with a quick breakdown of what this game entails. I'm going through the wide receiver and the running back rankings on screen so you guys can look at this, internalize it, sleep on it, whatever you want to do. That's here for you. We will go ahead and walk through the Steelers and Bengals matchup. Now, it's not projected to be one of the highest scoring games. We do know that the Steelers offense is relatively slow. They like to play at a very low pace of play. Thank you, Aaron Rodgers. It's not necessarily great for fantasy football points being scored. But let's dive into the Steelers side of things. Aaron Rodgers himself is projected about 16 fantasy points. Now, we know this Bengals defense is so friendly to fantasy points in every single aspect of fantasy football, whether it's quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. We will get into that. There is one guy that I really do like. But Aaron Rodgers, in my book, is not necessarily going to be a start. Obviously, he doesn't have any rushing upside. He'd probably injure an ACL if he tried to run away from a sack. But it's not like the Bengals are going to put too much pressure on him. Still, not a guy we need to start. He needs to throw at least 3 passing touchdowns to be fantasy viable for us. And when we have running backs like Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell, that might not be very feasible. Jaylen Warren, on the other hand, coming back in this matchup as the RB1, Kenneth Gainwell is not going to be a start for me this week. I know a lot of people have Kenneth Gainwell and they're interested in starting him. It's tough. Even in a really good matchup, again, against this Bengals defense, Kenneth Gainwell as an RB2, he's either A, going to need 5 receptions, or B, going to need a touchdown to be fantasy viable. I just don't see it happening. I'm sitting Kenneth Gainwell. For that reason, Jaylen Warren, I expect to be at a higher percentage of the split between their snaps, and he does get the more valuable touches on field. He gets the red zone work. He also runs a lot of routes, which is why he's as valuable as he is. He is a start in this matchup. Again, we know how positive this Bengals defense is, but my start of the week, I guess in this matchup specifically, is DK Metcalf. If we go ahead and look on the Walter Picks rankings for my man DK, you will see, you will find, you will notice he is a top 10 wide receiver this week. Now, again, it is because of how positive this matchup is. What is up, everybody? Hopping in the chat, man. There he is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are back, man. Another Thursday. I know you guys just love Thursdays so much more because of me. You don't have to say it. I already know. But we have DK, who you're going to love even more if he puts out good fantasy points, because this Bengals defense allowing a lot, but DK doesn't need a huge target share to be fantasy viable. That's the good thing about DK. Am I a huge Metcalf fan for the rest of season? I will say no. Again, because of how slow the pace of play is for the Steelers offense, it does hurt him a little bit. But in this matchup, is going to be a good one. We also do have Calvin Austin out for this matchup. He will not be playing, which means that's one less wide receiver. That's one less fantasy target from him going out probably to DK Metcalf. So he should have a higher target share because of that. The next best wide receivers, guys, take a guess. Does anybody else know what other wide receivers are on this roster? Everybody just spam a Steelers wide receiver that you may or may not know, because I will tell you right now, it is not a lot. We have Okay, someone got one. We got Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller, and Ben Skronik. Man, this is absolutely terrible. So you're starting DK, nobody else. Jonnu Smith, possibly an option this week. I mean, Pat Fryermuth has really been a non-factor. Darnell Washington is getting used a little bit, but not something I absolutely love. And then going on to the Bengals side, what is up to everybody hopping in the stream, man? If you're just now hopping in, spam your start sit questions. I'm going over this Thursday night preview for a beautiful game of what we're about to witness in Old Man Joe Flacco and Old Man Aaron Rodgers. I know this is exactly what we all want to be doing with our Thursday night. I know it is. Knicks or Daniels? This is a great question and an easy one for me. Jin and Daniels is my number one. Oh, I saw Daniel Jones. I don't know why. I'm a Commanders fan, guys. I'm just always reading Jin and Daniels. Yeah, I would go Daniel Jones in this one. But yeah, as far as the Bengals side of things, Joe Flacco, not a start unless you absolutely need it or you're in a super flex league. Chase Brown, I think, is a decent one. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense isn't bad. They are allowing a decent amount of fantasy points, though, to running backs, more than you would expect with like how good the defense has been in previous years. Chase Brown can be started. Samaje Perine obviously should not be, but Jamar Chase is going to be a start. We kind of are seeing a little bit of a resurgence with old man Joe Flacco. So T. Higgins, on the other hand, though, is going to be a fringe flex. He's going to need a big reception or a touchdown to keep him fantasy viable. The target share, again, because the Steelers play at such a low pace, probably isn't going to be that high. So T. Higgins to me is not a must start. But again, guys, drop your start sit questions. I'm answering as many as I possibly can. We have a long hour of answering start sit questions in this live stream. So make sure to keep spamming them and I will get to as many as I possibly can. Let's see. Is Warren a good flex? Yep. I would play Warren. Again, this matchup is very, very positive. I have the running back rankings scrolling through the screen right here. He is a good start. Jaylen Warren obviously does have downside with how this offense is playing, but still very viable. And then, yeah, you're not really starting Noah Fant in fantasy football. So that kind of goes through the recap of what this game will entail. Everybody take your guess. Are we taking the Bengals or are we taking the Steelers? Everybody in the chat, let me know right now. I know last week we were talking about the Eagles and Giants game. Everybody in the chat said the Eagles were going to win this game. I didn't think the Giants were going to be that far off. They ended up actually winning. So let's see if you guys are more locked in this week. Steelers. Everybody spam in the chat. Are we going Steelers or are we going with old man Joe Flacco on this one? Kendrick Bourne or Shaheed? See, the thing is with Rashid Shaheed, he actually has one of the best cornerback matchups this week, and Kendrick Bourne has one of the toughest, okay? So I would come down to if we have one of Ricky Pearsall or Jawan Jennings playing, I wouldn't go Kendrick Bourne. But if they're both out, I'll take Kendrick Bourne in that one. Are we going with Jalen Coker or Devonta Smith? This is another good one. I've been saying in the waiver wire videos on this channel for a while to go get Jalen Coker while you still can. I think it is a bit risky to go through and put him in your starting lineup this week. Again, it is going to be presumably his first week back. It's not like the Jets have been crazy. We're going to get Sauce Gardner on Ted McMillan anyways, so it's not going to be too bad and too negative of a matchup. But I think there's just a little bit too much risk in this one to go ahead and start him over Devonta Smith. Do we start Joe Flacco? I wouldn't advise it. The matchup is decent, but unless he scores 3 passing touchdowns, which is possible, there's just a lot more downside than there is upside here. So unless you're in a super flex league or something like that, I don't think Joe Flacco is a must start by any means. T. Higgins or DK Metcalf? Great question. This is easily DK Metcalf for me. The matchup, again, the Bengals are allowing some of the most points, yards, and touchdowns to opposing teams and wide receivers specifically. This, to me, smells like a DK Metcalf game. You guys smell that? I kind of smell that. I smell a DK Metcalf game. Are we going Quentin Johnson or Ted McMillan? Yeah, this is a good one because Quentin Johnson just got, I guess, technically ruled in. He's practicing now, so he should be good to go. I would probably lean him over Ted McMillan because we do have Sauce Gardner going to be guarding Ted McMillan, who is a good corner. Now, to his point, he has not actually been as good as last year and previous games that we've seen so far. So it's just a little food for thought there. Are we starting T. Higgins? I wouldn't throw him into my starting lineup. Again, guys, spam your start sit questions. I'm answering as many as I possibly can. If I don't get to your question, the fastest way to get it answered is to try out the Walter Picks app that I'm showing on screen right here. If you haven't already, you can download it. Just look up Walter Picks, download the app, use my code Avery inside the app. You can try the start sit tool that I have on screen right here. It'll show you the boom and bust potential, the ceiling and floor potential of your players. It'll give you this nice little matchup graph here as well. And they also have a trade analyzer too. This is honestly what I use the most because I like finessing people in trades. And when they don't use a trade analyzer that is updated every single day with a full-time team of projection people, they can't possibly win trades, especially when you send them a lot, which I do. So again, if you guys want to try out any of these tools, just download Walter Picks, use my code Avery, and you can do that. Are we going with Swift or Rico? Yeah, this one to me, I've kind of been back and forth on all week so far. With Chuba Hubbard, I really do worry about Rico Dowdle. I'm not gonna lie, chat. If he is healthy, I don't think I would start Rico Dowdle. I mean, he's officially limited in practice today, so it looks like he will play. But the thing is, it's a decent matchup, guys. It's a decent matchup. Like it's not a beautiful one, so it's not something that I'm risking throwing Rico Dowdle into my starting lineup and hoping for the best in, unless of course you don't have any other options. Do we start DK or Devontae Smith, or is that Devontae Adams? If it's Devontae Adams, I'm going Devontae Adams. Easily Devontae Adams. If it's Devontae Smith, we're going DK. Aaron Rodgers or Matthew Stafford? Yeah, I'm going Matthew Stafford on this one, man. I am, first of all, not really an Aaron Rodgers believer. They do, again, have the slowest pace of play. If I do and think DK Metcalf is going to go off this week, which I do, you'd expect some kind of boost in ranking for Aaron Rodgers, but not against Matthew Stafford. Even if he doesn't have Puka Nacua, I still think Devontae Adams is far and away good enough to keep him fantasy viable. Shout out to you in the chat. Hey, Avery, can I start T. Higgins over Quentin Johnston? This is tough, man. I do somewhat believe in Quentin Johnston. It doesn't look like he's going to be on any kind of snap restriction, which if that's true, will be better, and I will go with Quentin Johnston. I would just say to monitor that situation as the week goes on, but it looks like he's fully good to go. So, I mean, he gets his matchup in week 7 against the Colts, which it is pretty positive. So I would be going with him here as long as the hamstring does not do anything. But again, you have T. Higgins, so you can't really afford to do that. I think he's going to be a safer option for you. Do I start Judkins or Swift? Yeah, I know Judkins had such a terrible matchup, or not a terrible matchup, but a terrible game last week. I'll go ahead and roll through these running back rankings here. I would go Judkins here still. I know Swift had a good week, but again, it was against the Commanders defense. I am a Commanders fan. If you guys don't know, I've survived through the heartbreak, and now we're actually kind of decent. But the defense, it was a Commanders defense issue. Like DeAndre Swift, still getting everything in this offense, but it's a tougher matchup this week that I don't really want to test compared to Quinshon Judkins, who had a down week despite a really good matchup. But Judkins, to me, is going to be a clear option here because this week, guys, Quinshon Judkins get his against the Miami Dolphins. They have been one of the most positive defenses in allowing fantasy points to opposing running backs. Judkins is easily that answer. Thank you guys so much for dropping these questions in the chat so I can answer them for you. If you haven't already, hit that like button on the stream. It helps the channel, helps me. It's completely free to you. And I will try to remember the notifications of the usernames of people that hit the like button on the stream, and I'll prioritize your questions. You're just relying on me being a big brain and remembering all of these people, but I will try my best. Are we going with Dak or Herbert? Yeah, I would 100% go with Dak here. It's not much of a question for me. I mean, you look at Dak Prescott, he gets a matchup against the Commanders. I think this is the #1 highest scoring projected game of the week. I believe the over-under is at 54.5 the last time I checked. I mean, both of these offenses are good. Both of these defenses are kind of lackluster as well, especially the Dallas Cowboys. So this should be, in all hopes, if everything goes right and the sports books are right, which they usually are because they need to make money at the end of the day, this should be a game where Dak Prescott has a beautiful game. Book Dak Prescott for 20 points. Do I trade away David Montgomery for Chase Brown? I would take Chase Brown. I know everybody is hating on Chase Brown right now. Certified haters. And I understand because the offense is not good. But he is still a guy that holds value, especially with Joe Flacco on this team now. The check down game should 100% be there. We've seen him be viable in that aspect of football as well in previous games and seasons. Are we going Daniels or Stafford? Yeah, this is a clear Jaden Daniels for me. Again, no Commanders bias, no JD Glaze on this one. Jaden Daniels is going to be my answer. He's my overall quarterback one. Again, this matchup is projected to be one of, if not the highest scoring games of the week. So Jaden Daniels is going to be that option regardless regardless of what quarterback you're starting. 100%. Pick two. Are we going with Warren, Dowdle, BTJ, or Swift? Yeah, I would probably sit. Man, it's hard to sit Dowdle right now, but I would probably lean with him. If not, BTJ would be my second option. Just because if we have Chuba Hubbard coming back, like it is definitely a worry. He's not just going to go to zero. Rico Dowdle isn't going to go to the zero, though. I think for the rest of the season, it'll be about a 50-50 split. All right, are we going with Stroud or Stafford? Yeah, I would be going with Stafford here. I know he's missing his number one wide receiver, Puki Nakua, but Stafford is still going to be that answer. Stroud is hit or miss, mostly because of the offensive line issues. He just doesn't have time to pass. That's also why Nico Collins has not been as good this year. If Evans plays, should I play him over Courtland Sutton? I would. I would play him over Courtland Sutton if he does play. Again, you got to monitor that, and I will try my best to do that here for you guys and on TikTok as well. But yeah, it was a pretty serious injury that he's coming off of, and he is getting old. He's a little bit of an unk, so we'll see. We'll see if he gets restricted in snaps. We'll get that information beforehand, though. Thursday Night Football question: are we going with Bill, Quentin Johnston, or Jalen Warren? Yeah, man, I love all of these players. Bill has the biggest risk. I mean, again, it is a really, really good matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. So if he falls in the end zone for 1-2 touchdowns, I would not be surprised with all the scoring projected here. But I wouldn't start him over Jalen Warren with how good this matchup is. Man, I would probably lean Jalen Warren, but I like the offense of the Chargers. I would suggest trying out the start sit tool. See what Walter Pick says. If you have not already, you can just compare all of your players in the app and it'll tell you who to start and sit based on thousands of data points and a full-time team of projections. Guys, I would probably lean with Jalen Warren on that one though. But if anybody in the chat, you guys want to get your start sit question answered, just download Walter Picks. If you use my code Avery, you can try out their start sit tools, their trade analyzers. You can sync all of your leagues as well. Just use my code Avery inside the app to support me, and we will keep this live stream going for you guys. What's up, Avery? Are we going with Charbonnet or Hunter? Man, this question, I was just recording a video earlier today about matchups between wide receivers and cornerbacks, and Travis Hunter has the literal worst matchup. He has the literal worst matchup this week. So Travis Hunter is definitely going to be worrisome, and we don't know what like kind of offensive split we're going to get with Travis Hunter, but it's not like Charbonnet has been that much better, and he does get a really negative matchup against the Houston Texans as well. I think Charbonnet has a little bit of a higher floor just because of the like running back nature of getting carries. So I would probably lean with him. Travis Hunter did see his most offensive snaps last week, though, so there is a testament to that. But if you want just pure ceiling, Travis Hunter is going to be that guy, but safety would be Zach Charbonnet for me. Pick two, Tet Sutton or Brian Thomas Jr. I honestly might sit Tet McMillan here, guys. Am I crazy for that? Am I crazy for that, chat? I don't think I'm crazy. I think I'm fully sane. Avery, are we going Marks or Genty? I just saw that question. I tried to pin it, but it went by so fast. There it is. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. If you haven't liked the stream yet, please go ahead and do that for me. It takes 2 seconds. It's free. I will try to remember your name because I see the notifications pop up, and I'll answer your questions. I'll try to prioritize them. I will go Genty in this one. Genty has had such an up and down season. I'll go ahead and pull up the running back rankings, but he is still technically this wide receiver one. Woody Marks, we have no idea at this point. Chase Brown or Cuban? I assume this is Chuba. I will go Chase Brown over Chuba this week. Chat, are we going with Cuban, chat? Is that a W or no? Oh, I see it is. It is Chuba. Okay, pick two. We're going Vidal, Chase Brown, Jordan Mason. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Vidal scares me this week, guys. He actually does scare me so bad. I would probably man, these are all like evenly mid running back. These are all evenly mid running backs. If we're going matchup wise, it would be Vidal to sit. I think he's the highest boom or bust potential kind of guy. But I really do think he could have it. Like, it is completely possible that Haskins just works back into this offense and just takes a lot of work. And if Vidal doesn't score a touchdown or get a bunch of receptions, we could be having a bad week. Whereas Jordan Mason and Chase Brown are kind of guaranteed to get that. So I would probably sit Vidal out of all those guys, but I'm not 100% happy about having to do that. Are we starting Fant or Fannin this week? Yeah, I would go Harold Fannin. I know Fant looks like a good play, again, because he is the starting tight end now with Mike Gesicki out. It's just a little bit too risky of a play. He could put up 3 fantasy points. He could put up maybe 10 max, but I think Harold Fannin, with the target share that he's getting, is definitely a guy that we need to be starting. But good play on you for picking up Fant if you do need him. Keep spamming your start sit questions, guys. I'm trying to answer as many as I possibly can. Are we going with Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love? Shout out to you for the Thursday Night Football question, guys. If you're just now hopping into the Thursday Night chat, hit that like button if you haven't already. But I will be going with my man Jordan Love in this one. Again, the matchup is very, very inviting. I know he hasn't been great as far as like volume and touchdown wise, but the Arizona Cardinals is not a tough defense. If they can blow them out of the water quick and he can pass for those touchdowns, which is the issue. Like, if they're all going to Josh Jacobs, then it is definitely a worse fantasy day for him. But I'll be going with him over Aaron Rodgers pretty easily there. Are we going Higgins or Trey Tucker, man? Trey Tucker. Now, Trey Tucker is another one of those guys that gets a pretty negative matchup as far as corner goes. I would not be going Tucker in this one. I think the upside for T. Higgins is just way too high. And the downside for Tucker is way too low. Because it's not like Geno Smith has been amazing, but Trey Tucker has been his most targeted wide receiver, which is kind of weird and kind of sad because I did like Jacoby Myers coming into the year. Any waiver players over Rico? Probably not. It, again, depends who is on your waiver wire, but I wouldn't. I would not do that. Are we going Ferguson or Fannin? Yeah, you got to go Ferguson here. Both of them are really good options. If I were you, I would look to take one of those guys, package another maybe good wide receiver or running back, and then upgrade at that running back or wide receiver position. Again, if you want to shop trades, Walter Picks actually has a trade finder. You can put in your players and it'll help you make trades. And you can use a trade analyzer as well. You can just put in the players, look through your league mates, sync your league as well. Just use my code Avery when you guys download Walter Picks if you haven't already. You can try it out for yourself. But yeah, I would definitely be going with Ferguson. Again, in the matchup, the Commanders and Cowboys game is projected to be one of, if not the highest scoring projected games of this week. I absolutely love that for them. Are going Dak or Indiana Jones? Yeah, I'll be going with Dak Prescott. I mean, I'm hanging my hat on Dak here. I am a Commanders fan. I know our defense has some holes in it. This should be a matchup where Dak Prescott absolutely airs the ball out, gets 4 passing touchdowns, and has a good fantasy football day. Now, he doesn't have the rushing upside, but he still is definitely a guy we want to be putting in our starting lineup. I have him in a league. I'm starting him over Justin Herbert. That is my take on that. Thursday Night Football question. Are we going with Judkins or Chase Brown? Great question. I appreciate you guys asking the Thursday Night Football one specific. I would be going with Judkins. I'll be going with Judkins over Chase Brown. I know he didn't have a great game last week. It was kind of scary, and he was split in the backfield a lot more than we expected. But the game script was all because, like, that is why he had a bad game. So Quinshon Judkins against the Miami defense, one of the best matchups we need to be taking advantage of. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Thursday Night Football, are we going with Quentin Johnston or T. Higgins? This to me smells like a floor and ceiling question because, again, T. Higgins, we have no idea. Like, that's the problem with T. Higgins is he could have a 7 reception game, which isn't very likely, but he could have a 2 reception game. We do have Joe Flacco, so the pass volume is going to be very high. We just know that to be a fact. I don't think he's going to be a great start unless he scores a touchdown, though. And I think Quentin Johnson has a higher chance to do that. I would lean Quentin Johnson over T. Higgins, but that one is very close for me. I appreciate you guys asking those T. Higgins questions, man. That is what I'm here for. Do I believe in Judy after all those targets? I wouldn't say I completely believe in him that he's just going to break out and then be a top guy now with the quarterback change. There is a stat that has existed for a good amount of years that I was looking at in the beginning of the draft process, and I was telling people not to draft Jerry Judy for the most part, mostly because wide receivers in offenses that are bottom five in scoring statistically have an extremely hard chance to finish top 35, top 12, top five in wide receiver finishes for fantasy football. And Jerry Judy was getting drafted higher than that mark for him. So I wasn't really in love with it. As far as this year now goes, it's possible that Dylan Gabriel gives him a little bit of a higher target share, but how valuable are those targets going to be? I would probably be looking to just sell him if I can. But again, if you have him on your roster, I'm not panicking. Like, I think he's fine, but I don't think he's just going to turn into the next breakout wide receiver here. Are we going with Jamar Chase, Rashee Rice, or Debo? My goodness. Can I please have your fantasy team? Can you please just give me the login? I want to know what that feels like, man. I mean, I would go Rashee Rice, Jamar Chase definitely as 1 and 2. Debo Samuel might not play. They just signed Treylon Burks to the practice squad, so maybe they'll elevate him, and that's kind of a negative sign saying that Debo might not be healthy. So, I mean, be ready for that, guys. Trade Rashee Rice? No, 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 no. No, guys, no. We waited this long for Rashee Rice to be healthy. I mean, not healthy, to be out of his suspension. This is not the time we sell Rashee Rice. This is the time that we celebrate for having Rashee Rice. I mean, as you can see in the Walter Picks app here, I'll go ahead and go back to the beginning. Look at this. The Walter Picks app, we have Rashee Rice as the number 1 wide receiver this week. We tried and tried and tried to find a reason why not. The target share is just going to be there. The game script is going to be there. We look at his last year's numbers, his touchdown rate per catch, everything is there. Is number 1 a little bit egregious? It is possible, but he is definitely going to finish as a top 5 wide receiver this week if the snap share is full, which it should be and looks like it will be. May Caleb Williams or Bo Nix this week. Yeah, May has been playing like, I'm not going to say Tom Brady replacement, but kind of the Tom Brady replacement. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely think Drake May is going to be your top option there. It is a tougher defense and tougher, I mean, game script wise against the Titans. The Titans defense is a complete run funnel. Like, you run the ball on the Titans because of how bad they cannot stop the run, which is unfortunate because we get Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson against this great run defense. 2 guys that we can't really put in our starting lineup. Like, it kind of sucks in all realness. It kind of sucks. But Drake May is going to be my start there, 100%. 100%. 100%. Are we going J.K. Dobbins or Chase Brown? Yeah, that's a really good one. I'd probably lean J.K. Dobbins. I have them very close in my rankings. This one is simply coming down just to matchup. I think we can trust J.K. Dobbins' matchup a lot more than we can Chase Brown. Should I start Javonte Williams this week after last week's performance? Yeah, you still can. Again, I'm taking as many pieces from this Commanders and Cowboys game as I can. The Commanders, this game here is a 54.5 point total. This is going to be one of, if not the highest scoring games of the week. I'm taking every piece from this game that I can. Like, there's a high touchdown potential for all of these players. So I'm putting them in my starting lineup. I'm trusting Javonte Williams. This Commanders defense is not great. Are we going Diggs? Well, hold on, wait. Oh, I just pinned the wrong question. It's okay. We can answer this one instead. Thursday Night Football question. What is up, man? Thank you for commenting in the chat. Okay, let's see. You have Allen on bye. You know what? I have Allen on bye too in like 3 fantasy leagues. Aaron Rodgers or Flacco tonight or Stroud. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is really bad. This is really bad. This is Stroud or Darnold. And then Flacco. Oh my goodness. Or Aaron Rodgers. I don't think I would go anybody in tonight's matchup, if I'm being completely honest. I'd probably lean CJ Stroud. The Seahawks defense is good, but they're missing a couple pieces because of the injuries. So maybe just hope for the best. That's tough, though. Good luck with that. Yikes. Are we going with Diggs or Worthy and Baker or Dak? Yeah, I would definitely be going with Dak over Baker. Half of Baker Mayfield's players are injured. It definitely doesn't help. He's been playing amazing. Like, we cannot take that away from him. But for Diggs and Worthy, I am slightly worried about Worthy this week with Rashid Rice coming back. So I would go Diggs here. I know Diggs is not the most consistent wide receiver as far as target share goes, but I would trust him a little bit more. PPR, do I trade Dobbins for Caleb Williams? Dak or Herbert? Okay, I see. I probably wouldn't. Unless your quarterback is like Joe Flacco, for example, I would not be trading a very solid running back for a quarterback. Again, if it's like a 2 quarterback league, then maybe that there's a difference there, but I would not be doing that. Oh, here we go. Hold on. I just saw a question I like. McLaughlin or Boswell, guys. If you don't know, I am a kicker and defense fanatic, guys. I'm a sicko. I'm kind of a sicko. I'm not going to lie. I would be going with Boswell on this one. The narrative here, they probably will score less, but the percentage of a chance that they get in the red zone and don't score a touchdown is probably higher. When you have Jamar Chase, when you have T. Higgins, who can just get those long passes, then hopefully something will happen. So I would go Boswell, but you cannot ignore how good McLaughlin is playing. I don't think you can go wrong with either of those guys. Are going with JD or Hurts. No Commanders bias in this one. You guys know I am a heavy Commanders fan. I have been since birth. But Jaden Daniels is a top, if not the number one quarterback on the week. Again, if you look at this matchup between the Cowboys and Commanders, it is projected to be the highest scoring game of the week. You got to be picking and choosing your chances where you can. And that's a situation where I want to be taking as many starts as I possibly can from it. Are we going with Bill or Tet for the flex? Yeah, this one is really tough because you guys know I love Bill. And Tet gets a matchup against Sauce Gardner, which is one of the tougher ones. I would probably lean Bill on this one because you look at last week, the 1 week where Tet got his touchdowns, he barely had a target share. And now we have Jalen Coker coming back. Not to say I'm worried about Tet, but I just think this matchup for Bill just has such a high potential. Again, because of the game script and the scoring. If each team is scoring 25 plus points, you'd have to think the RB1 getting 15 carries a game is falling in the end zone. So I definitely do think Bill's a worthwhile start if you need him. Should I start T. Higgins or Jameson Williams? Yeah, I would go T. Higgins in this one. I just do not trust Jameson Williams enough in fantasy football to put him in my starting lineup and be happy about it. You could say the same about T. Higgins as well, but I trust him a little bit more with Joe Flacco and the sheer passing volume. Because if you look at Joe Flacco's game log, guys, this man is passing so much, like an insane amount. And that's carried over to this new team too. So I'm taking it every single chance I can. Do I prefer Dobbins or Chase Brown for the rest of season? That's tough. I would probably say Dobbins because it doesn't look like he's going to be restricted like at all. RJ Harvey is not necessarily a afterthought, but kind of an afterthought. You know what I mean? So I would just keep Dobbins. He's more established. Like you're taking a real risk picking up Chase Brown, but it's not bad. Thursday Night Football question. Are we going with T. Evans or Bourne? Pick one. Yeah, I definitely would not be going with Kendrick Bourne on this one. I know he's looked amazing, but he does get one of the toughest matchups for like corner to wide receiver this week. And when it comes to T and Evans, it looks like Evans is going to play like a full snap share. We're not sure. Like this matchup is really good. I'd probably go T. Higgins just to take the guaranteed points here. Because if Evans just all of a sudden is restricted and you're stuck between him and Bourne, like that's not a good situation to be in. Who should I trade Bucky for if you're losing Bucky and you need a wide receiver? Yeah, that is definitely a question for the Walter Picks trade analyzer if you have not already. We are working on a trade finder that will surface a bunch of trades for you guys instantly, and it is actually like really, really cool. So if you guys haven't already, check out Walter Picks. Use my code Avery if you haven't. Just download the app, and you can put Bucky Irving in the trade analyzer, as you can see on here, and you can just go through your league mates rosters, and it can show you some options for Bucky, and you can kind of make your trades from there. I would do that and just see what it gives you. Hold on, wait. Top defenses this week. Somebody in the chat knows. Somebody in the chat knows. Guys, who do you think my number one defense is this week? Take a guess. Take a guess, chat. Who do you think my top defenses is this week? Somebody said the Seahawks. You're very close. The New England Patriots chat. The New England Patriots chat. Lions, Patriots. There we go. There we go. Mike's got it. The New England Patriots are my number one defense this week because of this matchup that they do get. It does not get much better than the Tennessee Titans. Their offense has been atrocious, and that's generous. The Patriots defense now with Christian Gonzalez back is absolutely amazing, making me very happy. My number 2 defense would be the Seattle Seahawks against the Houston Texans, mostly because their offensive line is really, really bad. There's a high chance of sacks being generated on CJ Stroud. I also do like the Denver Broncos getting one against the Giants. I know some people are kind of restrictive on starting the Denver Broncos because Jackson Dart has looked good. But again, Darius Slayton's not practicing. We don't have Malik Neighbors. It's Lil Jordan Humphrey and Wan'Dale Robinson. Like, I think it's going to be fine for the Denver Broncos. And then the Chiefs was the number 1 waiver wire pickup defense of the week, getting one against the Raiders. Guys, I know I said this last week too. Take a guess how many interceptions Geno Smith has thrown so far this year. I said this. I asked the same question last week. Some of you guys were close, but nobody even came close to like the number. How many interceptions do you guys think Geno Smith has thrown? Just this year alone. Take a guess. I'll tell you, it's probably a lot higher. It's probably a lot higher than you think. Because Geno Smith, this man, has thrown 10 interceptions, chat. 9, 8. Yeah, see, we're close. Like, bro, 10 intercept. Like, this is why I like the Chiefs defense. 14 is crazy. If you threw 14 interceptions in 6 games, like 2 interceptions a game, bench him, please. Bench him, please. There we go. Are we going Evans or Sutton in this week's matchup? Yeah, a lot of it just comes down to Evans' health. Sutton doesn't get a bad matchup against the Giants. It might be a blowout pretty quick, but with the way the Giants have been playing, I would go Colton Sutton. He seems to have a lot safer of a floor. Santos or Pinheiro? I would go Pinheiro, yeah. Cameron Dicker or Ryan Fitzgerald. Man, I love how you guys are asking these kicker questions. Maybe I should start adding a bit more kickers in the waiver wire videos. I'll go Cam. I'll go Cam on this one. Are we going with Steelers or Patriots defense? Yeah, I would definitely be going with Patriots. I have Steelers in the league as well, so I don't blame you for that. But again, bro, the Patriots against the Tennessee Titans, like they could put up 20 fantasy points that I would not be surprised. Rice is coming off an ACL tear. Does that concern me? No, not at all. Because he was good to go earlier in the year. Like he was practicing in training camp. Like he was good to go. And then the legal stuff happened and he wasn't going to play. So like I have completely zero worry. Not a bone in my body is worried about Rashee Rice being injured or being restricted because of that. If he's going to be restricted in snaps, it's just going to be because he's not used to the NFL speed of football. But no, I'm not worried about him being injured whatsoever. There were reports saying that he was looking like a breakout, the best wide receiver clearly for the Chiefs in preseason, or not preseason, training camp before he got suspended. At the flex, Jalen Warren, Keenan Allen, or Bill. Oh my goodness. I think this might be the toughest question that I've gotten. I would probably go Jalen Warren on this one, though. Again, I love Bill because of the matchup. Keenan Allen is good, a little bit worse if we do have Quentin Johnson. He would be a very close second for me. I think as far as a like upside, like highest ceiling, it would be Keenan Allen, but I think Jalen Warren, as far as a floor perspective, is going to be my answer in this one. But those are all great options. Shout out to you for building a team like that. Trade question here. Do we go Kraft, Sutton, and JMO for London and Warren? Yeah, I would do that. JMO, you're never really going to start. Kraft, you probably have another decent tight end on your roster. And like Sutton, like, yeah, he's good. But Warren and Drake London, 100% I would take that. Most of the time in trades, guys, you want to be getting the higher value in the trade. Like if you're doing a 2-for-1 or a 2-for-3, you want to be getting the best player in the deal. And then you can just ride waivers and pick up some good guys after that. Like that is the best way to do it. That's right, chat. I spawned a water. I bet you guys didn't know that I have powers. But I do. And I'm using them for fantasy football. 100% of my brain capacity is fantasy football. And that's not even a joke. That is not even a joke, chat. Commodity by dollar, Krosky Merritt. I have a bad feeling in my gut, in my head, in my back, and everywhere that Kamani Vidal is going to be a bit of a risky start this week. I would go Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. The matchup is just so positive. So there's so many points expected to be scored. Now, Vidal is probably going to be your safer option just because of the work that he's getting, but you cannot ignore Bill, bro. You cannot ignore this matchup either. You know, me answering that question is going to get really sus because I'm going to let you guys know. You guys are the first people to hear this. I'm working on getting a photo of Bill Krosky Merritt just put on the wall back there. I promise I'm not biased, chat. I promise, chat. I promise in these questions I am not biased. But guys, keep spamming your start sit questions. We are slowly / quickly approaching tonight's tip off. I'm gonna answer as many as your questions as I possibly can, and we're coming down to the lower half of the stream where all the non-ball knowers start leaving the stream. So this is where it starts getting absolutely amazing and great. I traded Jamar Chase for Derrick Henry and Drake London. That's pretty good value for getting Jamar Chase out, especially if that's like a deeper league. Bring back the fat head. Yeah, I need to get a Bill Krosky Merritt photo, just like a massive one, just plastered on the wall right there. I think that's gonna motivate me when I wake up in the morning. You know what I mean? I have LeBron James right there. You guys can't see it, but my King James gives me some motivation when I wake up. Do we start T Higgins? I think T Higgins is a fine start. I have him inside my top 25 wide receivers this week. There's always going to be risk. There's always going to be worry with T Higgins. But I think he's a decent start. Again, it always depends who over. Trade JCM, Quentin Johnson, and Diggs / Worthy for Jefferson and Kendrick. Oh, I don't think you're getting enough back. Kendrick Miller, like Justin Jefferson and Kendrick Miller, you could get way better than Kendrick Miller for that. I would not settle in that situation. I would not settle in that situation. Pick 2, we're going with Javonte, Genty, Rashad White. I'm worried about Genty facing KC. Yeah, that is definitely valid. That is definitely valid because Genty has been more on the boomer bust side so far this year, and Rashad White has been absolutely amazing. I would sit Genty in that situation. Again, Javonte gets one against the Commanders. The defense is not that great, but it's also projected to be the highest scoring game of the week. So, I mean, it's crazy to sit Genty, but in that situation, I would. Do I trade Emeka Egbuka or Garrett Wilson? Which one would I rather have? I don't. You can't really. You can't really go any other direction than Emeka Egbuka right now. Like he has been on a tear. Now, when all of these wide receivers, if all of these wide receivers ever become healthy, maybe that's a different situation and a different story. That's very close for me. I'd probably still lean Emeka Egbuka just because he's shown the potential. Do I pick up Bourne and drop Douglas? Yeah, I would. I would probably just keep Golden unless you need like a 1 week streamer. Bourne will be good if we don't have Ricky Pearsall and we don't have Jawan Jennings. Now, Bourne does get a really tough matchup as far as like cornerback to wide receiver goes. I like Golden, his season long value a bit more. We do have Christian Watson coming back. So I think it just depends more of like, are you wanting to stash these guys or are you wanting a like 1 week flyer? Yeah, that would be my answer on that one for sure. Do I start T Higgins or Bill? Man, see, I'm not putting any of my Commanders bias in this one at all. I'm not. I'm not, chat. I promise. When it comes to T Higgins, it's like this might be one of the closest start sits that I've had. I think T Higgins has a safer floor. Bill has a higher ceiling because of the matchup that we're getting. Again, projected to be the highest scoring game of the week. I would probably go with Bill just based on that. I have been saying Bill a lot in this stream though, but that does not deter me away from saying Bill. I think with the touchdown potential, I just picked up Christian Watson. What's your thoughts on him? Yeah, I like him as a stash candidate. It's gonna take a few weeks, probably more than 2, for him to sniff being fantasy viable. It depends how deep your league is. It just is really unfortunate because you have so many wide receivers. Like you have Savion Williams, you have Romeo Dobbs, you have Dontavian Wicks, you have Jaden Reed eventually when he comes back. Like all of these guys. And Matthew Golden, of course, you can't forget about him. I do think Christian Watson earns a starting job when he's healthy and he comes into this offense. So again, it depends like who is on the waivers right now. I think he's decent, but I think eventually it'll be tough to start in the long run. Can I tell the Lions guy to answer my DM? He said he would. I will ground him. I will ground him. I will pretend that he's in trouble. I'll make him set up a meeting with me. And then I'll tell him that he has to log out of all of his accounts if he does not answer your question. Are we going with Dobbins or Vidal in a standard league? I'd probably go Dobbins here still. Again, it's a pretty positive matchup. Bourne, Laporta, or Ramondre Stevenson pick 2. Oh man. See, the thing with Ramondre Stevenson is like I don't want to be caught dead trusting him this week. I have him in a couple leagues, so like I'm forced to start him. It's such a good matchup, chat. Like the Tennessee Titans are allowing, I believe, the number 1 most points to opposing wide receivers or running back. Sorry. So like if he's ever gonna be a start, this is gonna be the week to do it. I think he has the highest boom potential out of these guys because Kendrick Bourne does have a tough matchup this week as far as cornerback goes. And if we have Juwan Jennings or Ricky Pearsall in, I would probably sit him. Sam Laporta would be my start at number 1. I would say it depends on the rest of the wide receivers. So if we don't have Juwan Jennings or Pearsall in here, I will go Bourne there. But if not, take advantage of the matchup with Ramondre Stevenson. Do we go Quentin Johnson or Quentin Sutton? I would go Quentin Sutton until we learn more about Quentin Johnston's involvement this week. He just got cleared like at practice. It's not a guarantee that he's going to get 100% of the snaps, so we don't really know. But for now, I would go with Cortland Sutton. It's a great matchup. The Giants have been competitive, which is going to help him. But we will see because that might change later in the week. AJ Brown or Jordan Addison in a standard league. I really everything in my body is telling me not to go with AJ Brown because he gets one of the toughest matchups. Like the Minnesota Vikings are allowing some of the least points to opposing wide receivers this year, and he gets a really tough one. Isaiah Rodgers is not an easy corner. But when it comes to Jordan Addison, like we don't really have that much more to go off of. You know what I mean? If anybody is matchup proof, it will be AJ Brown. But Jalen Hurts, man. I would probably lean AJ Brown just for the pure upside perspective of it. But there is definitely a downside for both of those players. That's a good question, though. I appreciate you asking. Those are the questions that really make me gotta dig deep in my brain. It's like playing word puzzles, guys. I just get all the information, all the snaps, all the target share, the matchup, the numbers. I'm like a robot, chat. Start 4. Okay, this is deep. Are we going HN? Okay, he's in your RB1. JCM, Judkins, Brian Thomas Jr., Quentin Johnson, Pittman. Oh my goodness. I would go Judkins, JCM, BTJ, and then probably Quentin Johnson. Like I'd probably just keep it in that order that you have it. Unless Quentin Johnson, there's reports coming out that he's going to be restricted or on a snap count or whatever, then I would probably just go with it all. Shaheed or Chase Brown? Yeah, I would go with Chase Brown. Appreciate the Thursday Night Football question. I see the appeal for Shaheed, though, guys, because Rashid Shaheed gets one of the best matchups this week as far as cornerback matchup. Like corner to wide receiver where he's lined up on the field. It's a good one for Rashid Shaheed, but I'm not going to trust him. Like, it's just such a boom-bust situation. It's very risky. So, thank you, bro. Thank you so much for hopping in the live stream, guys. I will be on here for a couple more minutes asking or answering the last questions you guys have. I do have to get ready for this game. I got to watch it. The last couple streams, I have been going past the game, and I've missed the first bit of it. Rams defense or Bears defense? Where did that question this go? Rams or Bears defense? Yeah, I love the defense questions. I would probably lean with the Bears very, very, very slightly though. Spencer Rattler doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. The Bears are great at forcing them. The Rams get one against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is decent too, but I trust their offense more than the Saints. I would like my top defenses are the Patriots, the Seahawks, the Broncos, the Chiefs, the Packers, Browns, Steelers, Eagles. Like those are my top defenses. So I think that even the Carolina Panthers this week with no Garrett Wilson and the way Justin Fields has been playing is a decent option. Those are my top ones. So if any of those are on the waiver wire, that's going to be it for you. That is going to be it for you. Are you feeling Dak or Hurts this week? Yeah, call me crazy, but I'm going with Dak. I know it's tough, but Jalen Hurts gets a very tough matchup against the Minnesota Vikings defense. And when you look at Dak Prescott, guys, I'm calling my shot on this. Dak Prescott, the matchup against the Commanders should be the highest scoring one of the week at 54.5 points. So if anybody's going to score, if he's going to get passing touchdowns, it will be Dackery Prescott. It will be Dak Prescott, man. It will be Dakota Prescott. So that's what I'm going with for that one. Where am I ranking Houston defense for the rest of season? I don't really rank defenses rest of season just because it's such a week by week basis. If you play fantasy by streaming your defense, the best case scenario of like, okay, you pick up the Packers because they play the Bengals this week and then drop them and then pick up the Panthers because for this week example, they play the Jets. Like that's the kind of situation I would way rather stream my defenses. So I don't even look at like full season rankings unless it comes to the fantasy playoffs for defenses, then it matters. So then I'll pick up a defense and stash one that has a good playoff schedule. But that is about time for me, guys, in this chat. If you have any more questions, drop them in the comments section. Drop them on the TikTok if you have not seen it. I am Avery, Commanders Walter Picks on TikTok. That is where I come from. I'm the lead content creator at Walter Picks as well with Seth. You've probably seen him on this YouTube channel, on these videos, on the TikTok before. Hit that like button on the stream. Follow the stream if you have not already. I appreciate all you guys spending time in here with me. I will see you guys in the next Thursday stream. Very good game coming next week, as well as the rest of the waiver wire starts at videos coming your way. Thank you guys so much for hopping in this one, and I will see you in the next one. Make sure to be there for that one coming next week.